Good evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the president of United in Peace, Inc. I'm also the host of the Bradley Report. People know me as the urban translator, the political consultant. That's a registered voter and an AARP car can member. We're going to have a good show. I believe we 5 days away from the election. Let me see, today Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Let's make that 4.5 days. The election is so powerful. We're seeing a situation where everyone is worried around the country. Trump keeps saying if he loses, he's not going to give up his seat. People are thinking that there's going to be riots in cities across America. I want to say to those of us that's in Chicago, County of Cook, and especially the state of Illinois, vote early. There won't be no need for no noise in Illinois. Especially vote for Kim Foxx, Cook County State's Attorney. Re-elect Kim Foxx, the Cook County State's Attorney. And I want to show you why. Mari, before we go on to me talking about stopping the violence, let's do the Kim Foxx piece. Yeah, so while we're getting here it is right here.
Attorney, the first African-American woman to hold the job, is trying to convince critics she deserves another term.
But Republican Pat O'Brien is hoping his message can lead to an upset of incumbent Kim Foxx next Tuesday. WGN political reporter Tamon Bradley has a closer look at candidates' final pitch to voters.
There are also shots fired by the offsetting.
With Chicago shootings and murders up 50%, the chief prosecutor in Cook County is facing the voters. Will they rehire Democrat Kim Foxx, a champion of criminal justice reform, or pick challenger Pat O'Brien, a Republican promising a tougher on crime approach?
I'm not defeating her agenda. All I'm doing is supplementing it with the prosecutor's determination to prosecute violent criminals.
That's O'Brien's message, that Foxx is too lenient on criminals.
Every stage of her policy, she has failed. It's failed in charging. She's failed once charged to carry through the case to a disposition. She's dismissed over 25,000 cases in her 4 years. That's 30% more than any other state's attorney.
Foxx, who's made righting the inequities of the criminal justice system her platform, is defending her record.
When we have cases in which we're able to prosecute, we charge them and we prosecute them in the same way that we've done for the last 4 years.
This summer, as violence and unrest spread, a frustrated Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown called for stiffer penalties for gun offenders.
When they have no consequence, violence continues.
That's certainly not naming you, but it sounds like he's blaming you.
You know, we've been at this for the last 4 years, and violent crime for the first 3 years of my administration went down prior to Mr. Brown getting here. And so while I understand his frustration from this summer and the violence that we're seeing, it's just not backed up.
To close the campaign, Foxx has gone on offense with this TV commercial slamming O'Brien's work as a former circuit court judge and assistant state's attorney.
An angry Republican who wants to lock him up regardless of evidence. It's not Trump, it's Pat O'Brien.
His view of prosecution has led to dozens of wrongful convictions.
What reforms would you back to make sure that the system does a better job?
DNA is important. It overturned a lot of the convictions. It wasn't available at the time. We're going to move so that the DNA testing for people who are in custody, whether in jail or whether already convicted gets done more quickly.
The state's attorney contest is one of this year's most watched local races. Despite controversy, the Democratic establishment remains with Foxx, while major law enforcement groups back O'Brien.
No TV debate for voters. Fox would not agree to one. There is a libertarian candidate on the ballot, Brian Dennehy. We tried to book him for an interview, but we're not successful.
Thanks, Amari. You know, one of the things that's so profound about this election, O'Brien is a part of an old evil cabal that was established in the state's attorney's office, from Hanrahan to Richard Daley, that had became the mayor, to Dick Devine, to Anita Alvarez. During the time that O'Brien was assistant state's attorneys, the assistant state's attorneys was working in cahoots with corrupt police officers, including John Burge and others that engaged in torturing African Americans and some Hispanics for cases that they knew that the individuals didn't do. So for him to come out and act like he's screaming that he's about the victim of crimes, when he was responsible for prosecuting individuals that he knew were not guilty, and therefore he made it where the individuals that committed the crime remained on the streets. Okay? So, Cook County voters, y'all made the decision to elect Kim Foxx. You made the decision to, in this re-election race, you made the decision that Kim Foxx was to remain the Democratic candidate for Cook County State's Attorney. Because you know that she has put the work in to maintain criminal justice reform and create or bring integrity to that body of government with fair prosecutions. And I have to agree with her. Superintendent Brown, even the mayor, but I'm glad that the mayor is with Kim Foxx, okay? Because even she said, we can't afford to let the state's attorney's office to go back to the way that it was. Even during the primary, it was a billionaire's son that his dad gave him millions of dollars to run against Kim Foxx. But it reminded me of the election of Harold Washington over Epstein, I think that's his name, Bernie Epstein. People in the community feel, and I'm talking about African Americans, Hispanics, white people, feel that this is more about race than it is about the integrity of the office. So they have made a plan that they're going to get 2 bites at the apple to go at Kim. Even to the point of putting the worst candidate up there to run against Kim, which is O'Brien. And then when you see the Fraternal Order of Police marching and protesting against Kim with white supremacists, in the vernacular of Trump, because the majority of them are Trump supporters. And there's a few African Americans that's Trump supporters as well. against Kim Foxx. Because like even today or yesterday, police officers that was framing individuals and the individuals that they framed end up getting out of jail because that police officer that was responsible for framing them ended up going to the penitentiary himself. Okay? In today's Sun-Times article, it says, standing firm. Fox acknowledges anguish and fear triggered by homicides, looting, but denies her social agenda is responsible. She do not lock the individuals up. She do not make the arrest. That's up for the police officers to get the evidence to be able to take it to a grand jury for the grand jury to find a person indictable for the crime that he committed. She go in and try to get the right bonds to fit the crime. I know this to be a fact. My brother was murdered. The assistant state's attorneys, they come in and they said that the individual that committed the murder, I'm not just speaking for myself, that's usually for a whole lot of crimes, violent crimes, that the assistant state's attorneys go before the bond court, the first bond hearing before the individual, end up getting a judge that's gonna hear his case if we go to trial. They come in, they present the evidence that they got from a proffer. They say what type of crime it was. My brother got shot in the back right after he was murdered. The man got arrested on the site because he thought my brother was dead. Okay? When the paramedics get there, because the guy, Mr. Dunmore, the one that had murdered my brother, he called 911 because he thought my brother was dead. Okay? He get rid of the gun. So one can only assume that he had a story to tell the police and the paramedics, possibly, hey, someone came into my establishment and they came to rob me and my friend, my brother, his friend. I'm just did it on assumption. Why else would he call 911? And then he give the spiel that, hey, possibly, they killed my friend. No gun on the scene. But when my brother let it be known to the paramedics and to the police and to his friend that Dunmore shot him in his back as he was leaving the establishment. They arrested Mr. Dunmore right there on the scene as the paramedics took my brother to the trauma over at University of Chicago, where he died after surgery. But when they took Mr. Dunmore to the police station, they did whatever they do to get GSR, which is gunshot residue. It was all over him, over Mr. Dunmore. That's how he got arrested. So he had what one would say a deathbed confession. This my guy from the victim that shot me and everything else, okay? So when he get to court, the assistant state's attorney says, Your Honor, we'd like for Mr. Dunmore be denied to get a bond. So the judge made a decision to give him, not the state's attorney, the judge made a decision to give Dunmore a bond, a $200,000 bond. He paid $20,000. He got out. Now the case called for no bond. So here recently, I believe it was October 19th, the state's attorney, the assistant state's attorney who has the case now, has put a motion in to review the bond. Just like you hear a lot of people end up locked up and they have no bond for the crime that they commit, because once they get an assistant state's attorney who has the responsibility to try the case in a courtroom that's been assigned to a judge that's going to hear the case, they put in motions for bond review. That's what we had in my case. That's where we at in a whole lot of cases, okay, that end up with no bond. So again, it's not Kim Foxx's fault. The judge has the distinct privilege to make the decision if an individual should be released on bond. So for O'Brien to put that loud like Kim is responsible for individuals that's getting out on bond, that's not true. That's not true. So check O'Brien's record, check Kim's record, okay? Today, embedded Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx said Thursday, it's in today's paper, she understands the fear Chicagoans feel after 2 devastating rounds of looting and a 50% surge in homicides and shootings. But her social agenda is not responsible. She's not responsible for any of that that's happening. Okay? She's not doing what you hear Trump doing, telling the Proud Boys or the thugs or whatever it is, stand down and be ready or whatever that is he said. Okay? Kim not responsible for the looting, the homicides, or the shootings. The cases that she has prosecuted has went up because of good and fair prosecutions based on the evidence. Not like O'Brien now and the past state's attorney's office that wasn't dealing with fair prosecutions, okay? They was framing individuals. They was covering up police misconduct. They was doing all kind of nefarious things. And everybody in the county of Cook know how corrupt the state's attorney's office was, how racist it was. Some of the majority of the judges that's on the bench now used to be corrupt and racist assistant state's attorneys. So I'm saying that to say this. Voters in Cook County, I'm glad that a lot of us has came out and voted early. I'm seeing where across the country, they say 84, maybe 87 million people has voted early. Okay? They can't take a chance to try to mail it in because Trump and them is trying to suppress the votes any way that they can. So I'm appealing to the residents of Cook County. Please, please vote and re-elect Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx, and vote yes when you get to 201 to retain a good judge, a fair judge, appellate court judge, and that's Aurelia Paczynski. Vote yes when you get to 201 when they're talking about the retention of the judges. Now I want to go to another topic because politics is local. Everyone has to get involved, okay? And the wonderful thing, in my opinion, of this COVID-19 and this lockdown, or whatever they want to call it, it shot us into the world of Zoom. It shot us to a world where we don't have to depend on what the mass media says. And it has allowed people in various communities to be able to communicate on Zoom. And I got a thing that's coming up. Amari, hit this piece, the political street talk. Political street talk is where this brother, Dr. Lamont Baker, is having where renowned individuals will be on a panel, and we will be giving our take on the politics from the streets. What I mean by that, from people on the corner to when they was able to go to the bars or the barbershop, and reputable people, whether they're able to talk in church, we all know one another. He's gonna have that's Mr. Timuel Black, the icon within our community, that know the politics and academia and the history of Chicago. Street talk. You can have conversations with Timuel Black if you see him at a restaurant, if you see him anywhere. Alderman Walter Burnett from the 27th Ward. An ex-felon, such as myself, that were able to get pardons from the governors. And look at us now. Professor Robert Starks, another great political icon that can give you the history of state, city, county politics and federal politics. Him and Timuel Black will tell you about presidents, about the importance of electing senators. I'm going to be on the panel as the president of United Peace, Inc., urban translator, and y'all know I'm the host of the Bradley Report. And there's a young lady, her name is Nature Lawrence. Let me make sure. One thing you don't want to do is call a woman by the wrong name. Okay, here. Yeah, I was right. Nature Lawrence. She's the CEO of a Nurtured Success nonprofit organization. And then you got Robert Carroll, okay? Brother Starks is from Northeastern Illinois University. And you know, Alderman Burnett is from the 27th Ward. He's the alderman and the committeeman of the 27th Ward, and a protege of Illinois Secretary of State Jesse White. And then we got the great Chicago legend historian, Timuel Black. That's gonna be Sunday, November 1st at 5 p.m., okay? The view will be on Facebook Live if Dr. Lamont Baker's Facebook Live page. You're gonna hear more about that, okay? I'm just putting it out there to let you know what's in store. Now, the next piece that I want to bring out is the importance of early voting, okay? They said that there's a pivotal Midwest states see an uptake in young voters. I want to say to the millennials, to the Generation Z, hooray, 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 hooray. This is a historical vote, and y'all gonna make the decision. Could you hit that right there? Thanks.
Thanks. Well, I can. No, I got it.
It's very important that the young adults come out and let it be known, because we remember when it was young Jesse Jackson, when it was young leaders back then that's now iconic leaders, like Mr. Lewis from Atlanta. We coming in right now. 1 minute is coming in. But today leaders with the Black Lives Matter movement, I mean, they moving. They letting it be known how serious it is, okay? They have no problem standing in line as if they was in South Africa. They know the seriousness of voting. They know that in order to get social justice, you got to get new leadership. You know what I mean? So the thing becomes,
should be celebrated.
they're the one
Americans can't afford
they're
to
going
wait 3 hours
to usher
line.
in
It's a privilege
a
to be able
new
to do that.
paradigm to make justice right, just like Lewis, Reverend Jackson, and others in the 60s, Martin Luther King, made it where we was able to get the right to vote because they were the young leaders of
I have
yesteryear.
heavy shoes, I have my boots on, I've got my water.
And it's a
I've got
wonderful
my
thing. All right, you ready? Hey, Marty, could you back that up a little bit?
I feel it's one of the most important
Right
elections
to the beginning.
I've had in my lifetime, and I felt I didn't want any confusion on a mail-in ballot, so that's why we came early.
Hey, Brother Maury, could you back it up a little bit right to the beginning? Okay.
Been 3 hours.
2 hours and 20 minutes with still a while to go.
I don't think that long lines should be celebrated. Lots of working Americans can't afford to wait 3 hours in line. It's a privilege to be able to do that.
I think it's rekindled like a spirit of democracy in a lot of people. It hasn't me.
I have the mask, I have the thick coat, I have heavy shoes, I have my boots on, I've got my water, I've got my snack.
I feel it's one of the most important elections we've had in my lifetime, and I felt I didn't want any confusion on a mail-in ballot, so that's why we came early.
I don't trust the mail right now. That's why.
There are a lot of things this year that came up, like police reform and all those things, and those kinds of things happen at the local level.
You know, it's a real push on the importance of voting, especially with the continued shootings of African Americans by police officers. Either they're shooting them, called shooting, and the only charge is driving while black. They have no concern for mentally ill individuals. The family can put a distress call through 911, and they can tell that or make mention that, hey, my son is erratic there, he's just running around. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Amari, hit that piece about the woman tries to restrain the son moments before the fatal shooting in Philly. I think the young brother's last name was Wallace. Could you hit that video for me, man?
BC 10 breaking news.
You ain't had to give him that many shots.
That breaking news first tonight. A man who investigators say was armed with a knife is shot dead by Philadelphia police. And tonight, that deadly encounter is sparking a demand for answers as protesters line the streets. And some turned to vandalism, breaking glass and spray painting at this police precinct. And just into our newsroom, several officers are being taken to the hospital after being hit with bricks thrown by protesters at the 18th District. You're watching NBC 10 News at 11. I'm Jim Rosenfield.
And I'm Jacqueline London. The shooting happened this afternoon at 61st and Locust Streets. That's in the city's Cobbs Creek neighborhood. NBC 10's Matt DeLucia is live at police headquarters in Center City. Matt, what are you learning about this?
Well, police tell me it was two officers who fired several shots at 27-year-old Walter Wallace this afternoon. Police say that he was waving a knife, and witnesses don't dispute that. His mother was even there trying to restrain him, but some argue that shooting him went too far. A witness sitting in a car started recording when the commotion began near 61st and Locust Streets. Philadelphia police say around 2:45, officers were called because of a domestic incident involving a man with a knife. We don't know what happened before the recording started, but in this video, you can hear the officers yell for others to back up and then to put the knife down.
Officers ordered him several times to drop the weapon. Fortunately, he did not do so.
Moments later, we hear several gunshots as the camera falls. We stopped the video due to the graphic content, but we could not see what happened at the moment of gunfire. Seconds later, the man's mother rushed over as witnesses tried to help the man as he laid on the ground. Family identified the man as Walter Wallace. People who know him say he loved his children and his family.
He was a nice man, a wonderful man.
Maurice Holloway watched the whole thing happen and helped officers put Walter in a police car to be rushed to the hospital. He believes it didn't have to end this way.
I believe they could have took the right actions and possibly shoot him in his leg. Shoot him in his leg or not shoot him at all.
Cops need psychological evaluations.
The anger spread throughout the 6100 block of Locust.
This right here for a pocket knife is 15 shells laying down there.
Several city leaders responded, including Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw, who said in part, "I recognize that the video of the incident raises many questions. Residents have my assurance that those questions will be fully addressed by the investigation. While at the scene this evening, I heard and felt the anger of the community. Everyone involved will forever be impacted." Several videos like this one have been shared throughout the night.
Fortunately, it appears that the officers were wearing body cameras. The body cameras were activated. So, you know, we should have a lot of video along with eyewitness statements.
And this is being handled tonight by the officer-involved shooting investigation unit. Meantime, police union president John McNesby says that his officers are being vilified for doing their jobs after being confronted by a man with a knife. He is asking for patience as investigators gather all the facts. Live at police headquarters tonight, I'm Matt DeLucia, NBC 10 News.
We saw all the anger, frustration, and demand for some answers. Matt, thank you. And this is video just into our newsroom. You can see dozens of protesters taking to the street in West Philly in response to that shooting. This is right near Malcolm X Park. The UPenn police station in University City has been vandalized. You can see smashed windows and spray paint on the outside.
You know, remind me of Laquan McDonald. And they keep getting away. That's why you got to come out here and vote. That's the only way it's going to be changed this time for sure. You got to vote. watching that video. They ain't have to shoot that man. Like the man said, if you was gonna shoot him, you could have shot him in the leg. Or you could have tased him. He could have tased him. He didn't have a gun. They saw the mother. Why is it every time a domestic violence call go to 911, it end up being a homicide that was done by the police officers? But don't get me wrong, and I don't want you to get it twisted, because I feel the same intensity when someone black kills someone black. And especially when they're shooting at someone, I'm against any of that. When they're shooting at someone, 9 times out of 10, an innocent person gets shot or killed. Especially a child, an elderly person, a young lady. And that's why I'll be pushing this thing about the code. I believe Black Lives Matter 100%. Whether it's a black person that gets shot by a police officer or gets shot by another African American. Let's go to work, Mari. If you pick up that gun and you fire that gun, anyone that get harmed from you firing that gun, that's an innocent bystander. We asking the community, ostracize them, push them out, don't let them hide anywhere, don't support them, and let law enforcement do their job. The code is this: if you pick up that gun to solve your problem, I'm not endorsing violence. I'm saying you're violating the code if you discharge that weapon and innocent people get shot or killed, especially a child or an elderly person. And the community must uphold that code.
He got his shoe shined.
The reason that it worked in the 90s, because everyone was a part of it. Kids, women, elderly, was off limits.
You didn't touch him.
Didn't touch him. Ostracized from the community, pushing you out of the community, not supporting you in the community, or protecting you in the community, so that law enforcement can do their job by apprehending, and the Cook County State's Attorney can do her job by making sure that you get a fair prosecution. This is so that there's no retaliation in the community because you discharge or you fire that weapon at your intended partner. We all got to come together. Those of you, my name is Wallace Gator Bradley. I'm the urban translator. I'm the president of United Peace Inc. We all got to come together to let it be known that Black Lives Matter everywhere. Regardless if a police shoot somebody that's black, it means twice as much to our community when someone black is shooting someone black.
With at least 8 children under the age of 10 shot in the city in just 2 weeks, some are asking if that code still carries any weight.
This is something that we got to do.
Gator catches up with some friends on Calumet.
That 1-year-old that got killed.
His conversations of late have focused on kids getting shot. He says the rule still applies.
We as men got to put it down and say, that still exists. It never left.
We all got a responsibility.
We all got a responsibility, man.
But it never left.
I'm putting a call out to all the brothers. You know what we do.
put the word on the street that this is no longer tolerated. Me and Holmes work together, and we know how it works. We've been able to help individuals turn themselves in of the community, kick them out for law enforcement to come and arrest them. Now is the time. Just like it was the video from Miss Frazier that let everybody know about the awakening of George Floyd. Somebody got a video, or we need to use our videos to stop this senseless violence.
And I believe that vengeance belongs to the Lord. And with that, I want to say, to God be the glory. And that's my story. Hey, Mari, the next story I want to come up, Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy that's supposed to be, that story right there. 1 minute. You hold it right there.
Got word of that ruling about a half an hour ago, and the Lake County Sheriff's spokesperson tells me they already have Kyle Rittenhouse transferred to Wisconsin, where he will be in custody facing charges as an adult for murder. With demonstrators from Black Lives Matter making their presence known at the entrance of the courthouse, 8 stories above, Kyle Rittenhouse appeared before a judge deciding whether to send him back to Wisconsin to face murder charges. Prosecutors told Judge Paul Novak they believe the paperwork is in order and there's really nothing else to consider. Demonstrators agree.
I don't know why he's still here. It's just delay, because he doesn't want to face the consequences.
Video of Rittenhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin on the street walking with and firing an AR-15 rifle has been seen worldwide. It happened during the protests over the police shooting of Jacob Blake. The 17-year-old Rittenhouse, who is from Antioch, Illinois, allegedly shot 3 people, killing 2 of them. His mother, Wendy Rittenhouse, who was in court, was originally expected to testify, but attorneys decided instead to call no witnesses. They are expected to claim he fired in self-defense. I do believe from the bottom of my heart that this is a political prosecution, said Rittenhouse attorney John Pierce.
There's nothing political about killing people. There's never a time to kill. He's a murderer.
Clyde McLemore says he led some of the protests in Kenosha, and he confronted Rittenhouse earlier in the evening before the shootings.
I could have been killed because he had his AR-15 on his shoulder. I could have been shot and killed, but the people turned around and told me to leave, and we left and went on with our protests.
Lake County Prosecutor Mike Nerheim spoke to the media just a short time ago, said this was the ruling he expected. He said it would be highly unusual for a judge to deny an extradition request.
You know, what's so wild about that story? He was white. He came from Illinois across the state lines with a weapon to cause bodily harm. He walked past the police with the gun after he shot the people. The people was telling the police that man has just shot 3 people. He walked past the police armored cars, whatever it is, rolled by him, waved at him, gave him a bottle of water. And he was able to get back to Illinois. That's why you got to vote. The militias can run wild until here recently, when they was making a plan to go kidnap and kill the governor of Michigan. All because she felt people should stay in and obey the rules because of the COVID-19. Yet, the way they shot down Wallace, he was mentally ill, waving a knife in the air when they could have tased him or shot him in his leg. They let this guy get back to Illinois. And to hear his lawyer talking about it was self-defense is a political trial. He murdered 2 people and shot another one. Black Lives Movement is dealing with ingrained racism that you're seeing before your eyes when you got a man that's running for president. This guy that did that shooting was at the president's rally. The same president that was at a debate with Vice President Biden, the first debate. And when they brought the thing to him to repudiate or say he's against white supremacy, he gave a call to the Proud Boys, that's the epitome of white supremacy, and an armed militia, to the point that the government is now seeing them for what they are. Domestic terrorists. So now everybody is spooked and wondering if Trump loses the election, it's going to be some violence. I know America. And one thing I know about America, they ain't going to let nobody disrupt America to the point that they think they can take it with armed violence. They're going to crush them. Those of us in Chicago, remember the 1968 Democratic Party convention. And the way they beat them people, and they weren't black, but the way they beat them people, because they weren't going to have it. The way they went at those militias that was planning to kidnap the governor in Michigan, they knew they had to stop that quick, because for the president to let militias know in so many words that it's okay to hate America, and if I don't win, this is what we're going to do. Listen to what I'm telling you, especially African Americans that think they can be around those militias like it's okay. You gonna get it. They gonna serve you. For all you black Trump supporters, you got a right to support who you want to support. But understand this, it's going to be a price if there's some noise and violence behind this election. And it's because if Trump loses, he refused the transition. While we own government, and while we hearing that the coronavirus It's almost 9 million Americans that have it, almost more than 250,000 Americans that died from it. And people feel they got a right to feel because the president didn't do his due diligence as the leader of the country. He didn't tell people what he knew about the virus when he found out about the virus. Well, the same thing happened with, for lack of a better phrase, the irresponsibility of the governor of Illinois. And I'm his supporter. True blue. I helped elect him, like I helped elect a whole lot of other people. But I feel that once you get elected, you got to uphold the standards of your office. And there's a law called the Nursing Home Care Act that the governor refused to order or ask his appointed director of the Illinois Department of Public Health to enforce the Nursing Home Care Act, Section 8, against the nursing homes that aren't in compliance. It's dealing with those where there's willful neglect, abuse, even to the infective or the infective disease, COVID-19. Within the nursing homes, where the employees of the nursing homes and residents within the nursing homes have died. I want you to see this Channel 5 story. I'm going to see if this the one where they got the video where the reporter is telling the story. Okay, no, it's another one up there. Let's say Channel 5. Hit that. No, go up. Let me see. Go over to the left where it says, oh, it's a Channel 5. Oh, no, I do. I'm going to send it to you right quick. It's a list, the secret list. Where Channel 5 did the story on it. Let me see. No. That's it? Yeah. Show that right there. Thank you, man.
¿Estás buscando trabajo? Te tengo la solución. SureStaff. Somos una compañía con más.
So we get past that commercial. I want you to hear it from their reporting, okay? And I'm going to share with you.
Of wearing a mask and social distancing.
Let's take a look at the numbers in Indiana tonight. The state reported 3,200.
¿Estás buscando trabajo? Te tengo la solución. SureStaff.
Rush hour near 111th Street. State police say the shooting caused a crash. There is one report of a non-life-threatening injury.
So come on, right after that. That's the story that just came up about the shooting. Top of the news. Anyway, while we trying to get that together. There's a secret list that the governor had, okay? No, that's a live feed. That's gonna take you straight to 6 o'clock news, I think. Oh, let me see, go up. Come down a little bit, Mari. Go up a little bit. Got to be up there somewhere. No, that's what he's talking about, the bars. Anyway, the governor, ho. I see it. Go back up, Amari. It's gonna be to your right. Go up. Let me see. There it is right there. To your, that's the same one. Okay, come down. Bring the arrow down. You see what he got the arrow right there? Right there. As soon as commercial is over, it's gonna come right on. If you notice when the governor does his
By the way, take a look at this. Steve Hurley up in Master Control is steering our camera that's on Michigan Avenue. That's the full moon.
We're finding out that there was a list. You haven't heard them make mention of what's happening in the nursing homes or any of that. It's gonna come right after this, I believe, man. Okay, you haven't heard anything about. They're telling you about the deaths. They're telling you about how many people has been infected with the virus, but they never mentioned the nursing homes. Okay, they never mentioned what's happening with the nursing homes. Well, we can't find it to take. We're going with this here, man. It said Illinois keeps a secret list of thousands of coronavirus outbreaks, okay? Channel 5 ended up with the list. Come on down, son, Amari. Right here. It says, NBC5 investigates. Chicago investigators have found thousands of little-known outbreaks of coronavirus in Illinois. The reason all the attention is coming out is because the governor wants to close all the restaurants. And so people say they need to see the metrics for that, okay? In Illinois, bars, retail stores, preschools, workplaces, gyms, clubs, churches, and parties, all kind of parties across the state. Yet for months, the state has concealed these outbreaks from the public, despite the fact that these are the very cases that could directly support officials continue pleas for people to avoid large groups of people. Okay? Now, what they're saying, from what I've read, they want to close all the bars and all the clubs and all the restaurants. But they got a list that's finding out a lot of the infections from the virus is coming from private house parties more so than from the restaurants, because the restaurants are doing everything that they possibly can do to make sure that they're not in violation of whatever's decided to help bring down infecting other people with the virus. Case in point, they say, Gator, the restaurant, you got to close the restaurant or you got to slow it down. You normally can have 100 patrons in here. You can only have 25. I said, okay. Me, I'm going to make sure I have 24. Because it makes it easy for me not to have 26. They say, Gator, you got to make sure that people come in, they're not eating or drinking, they got their mask on. Okay. You got to check their temperature. You get the little gun, y'all that went to restaurants, y'all saw it, they either check your head or they check your wrist. Okay. Now, the people that's having a private party at their house or a reunion or a repast, they're not dealing with the restrictions as the bars and the restaurants are dealing with. So therefore, the virus is able to go from one individual to the next unchecked. But the thing that got me, Maury, bring it up some. Yeah, take it up a little bit. Take the story up. Go up some more. No, I'm sorry, my bad. Come down some more. Okay, hit the thing where it said read the full story. Okay, now come down some more. No, go up, my bad, go up some more. Hold it right there, let me see. Go up some more. Go up some more, go up some more.
3967.
Now NBC5 investigates. Did you know the state of Illinois keeps a confidential
Hey,
list
there
of
it is right there.
coronavirus outbreaks?
Good man.
Parties, golf outings, restaurants, and bars, all on a list the state has been keeping secret. But now the NBC5 investigative team has it, and we will show you what's on it. Here's Phil Rogers.
Repeatedly since the pandemic began, state health officials have made urgent pleas for the public to get a clue and start exercising some self-control.
Let's please think beyond ourselves and think about the people that we could unknowingly infect.
It would, of course, help if the state had good, concrete examples of outbreaks in congregate settings. And it turns out they do. This secret database of outbreaks across Illinois was obtained by the Midwest Center for Investigative Reporting, working with the Brown Institute's Documenting COVID-19 project. It shows thousands of coronavirus outbreaks in the state, resulting in the infections of over 43,000 people. This was not information the state wanted released.
That's correct.
The Midwest Center's Sky Chatty says the outbreak list, labeled confidential, do not share, was tendered to his agency by mistake as part of a larger document request.
There's like stuff in here about graduation parties, proms, weddings, all stuff like that. There's a lot of those in there that are driving the spread of the virus.
The report lists more than 2,500 outbreaks. The largest category, actually one of the few the state does make public, nursing homes and long-term care facilities, listing more than 27,000 staff and residents. But there are also major outbreaks at single sites, up to now kept secret from the public. Great Lakes Naval Training Center with over 400 documented cases, over 150 outbreaks at food production sites with nearly 3,000 cases there. The confidential report lists over 100 outbreaks at restaurants and bars, 72 at retailers ranging from big box stores to ma-pa grocery stores, 58 more at preschools, and 42 at churches.
But what really jumps out are the individual events, the very type of gatherings the state wants you to avoid. Examples they could have been using for months to make their case.
NBC5 Investigates found dozens of those in the report.
Among them, a private party in Deerfield in August, which infected at least 18 people. 31 cases from a weight loss camp here in Chicago. Dozen infections at a recital at a downstate dance school. And a golf outing at a country club in Logan County where 14 people were infected and one person later died.
Many of the listed places in which people come in contact with one another are either private homes, private gatherings, or in bars and restaurants.
In response to our repeated questions, state officials insisted, even this week, that they couldn't release the information due to privacy rules. But nothing in this report identifies any of the patients. And other agencies, among them Los Angeles County and the health departments in Colorado and Kansas, do release very specific outbreak information. Now, in a sudden change of heart, Illinois officials say they'll be making theirs available too.
You'll see that data as we come forward with it, but it'll be in the next few days or early next week.
With the onset of winter, officials have warned that indoor gatherings could lead to super spreader events. The confidential data suggests those events have been happening all along. Some at sites the public frequents every day.
When we released the data, that was our mindset, was this is information the public needs that hopefully they can use to make good decisions to protect themselves and their families.
We also think it's important for you to see the state's secret virus report, so we've posted it on our website, NBCChicago.com. There you'll see lots more examples and a searchable table of outbreaks and exposures from across Illinois.
You know, what's so
Bill Rogers, NBC.
So key about that story, like he told you, you can go online and find the information, like I did. One of the things that gets me, it says, have now analyzed the list, and it appears through September, nearly 1/3 of the confirmed outbreaks occurred in 988 nursing homes and long-term care centers across the state, resulting in the sicknesses and in many cases deaths of more than 27,293 staff and residents. And in fact, after much public pressure last spring, they are now posted and updated weekly. But the governor and the Illinois Department of Public Health Director has a responsibility to check those nursing homes, hold them accountable for willful neglect, abuse, even to the spread of the COVID. And they let it go on and on and on and on and on up till today. We're about to be in November. They wrote a press statement about what I'm saying now in August, saying that they knew about complaints in the thousands of willful neglect and abuse by the nursing homes that weren't in compliance of the Nursing Home Care Act that led to employees being infected and dying, and the residents of the nursing homes being infected, sometimes from the employees, and dying. And they have not held the nursing home accountable based on the law here in Illinois. The Nursing Home Care Act, Section 8. What that does, when the governor order or acts the director to enforce that law, an Illinois statute, to enforce that law, it unties the hands of the Attorney General and all the county state's attorneys, especially in Cook County, to go in, put them under receivership till they put a new managing crew in there to uphold the laws for them to be in compliance. And could you imagine all the lives they would have saved? I don't know why they won't do it. I'm hearing about the power of the nursing home lobbying folks, or the industry, the nursing home industry lobbyists, where they got us looking at the lobbyists, ComEd and Madigan, but I don't know no one who have caught a disease from ComEd, or plugging in a light bulb, or have died. Now we found out they had this, they knew all this. That's why the restaurants are screaming. That's why the businesses are screaming. Governor, I'll make an appeal to you again. And not just to you, to the state senators, to the state representatives, because you're going to shoulder the blame too come the next election. Because you're aware of this happening, you're aware of the nursing homes that's in your districts. Alderman, you're aware of the nursing homes that's in your wards, talking about Chicago and Cook County. County commissioners, you're aware of the nursing homes that's in your district, especially the county, because y'all pushed and supported and passed a resolution called Save Our Seniors, based on the data that you was receiving about the spread of the virus and the death that was coming from the virus through the nursing homes. He has a responsibility. And I'm going to say this too. With all the money he got, he may do a commercial or pay somebody. Well, Gator just saying this because he ain't a part of the administration. We wasn't hired. Let me tell you this. Had he hired me, I would not have been silent about what I witnessed that's going on in them nursing homes. The media know I've been in press conferences in front of Westchester, Salva Westchester. They know Salva Westchester, Salva, the company, has been held accountable by the federal government to return $60-some million back to the federal government because of the wrong things that they're doing. We're seeing and reading how the Department of Justice is raiding nursing homes around the country. And they're coming in nights. And the headline's going to read, we came in here because the governor wasn't standing on his responsibility or supporting or enforcing the law to check bad nursing homes. And I ain't no Republican, I voted early. I voted straight blue Democrat. But I am a card-carrying member of the AARP. And I'm a black man that when I hear that the vast majority of the deaths in those that are infected with this disease are African Americans. So I feel real passionate and ashamed of African Americans that's elected and knowing this is happening in their respective wards, representative districts, state senatorial districts, and you silent. You silent. All you have to do is tell the governor, this is what's happening in my ward. This is what's happening in my district. The people elected me to be about their well-being, not just to come to them when I need their vote. People telling me, man, Gator, I'm worried, man, my father, my mother. You telling us to vote? And then when we put a call out to them to check on our seniors and our residents in the senior homes, because we can't get in there. Are you telling us to vote early before they die? So come on. Let's be over on the 4th. On the 3rd in Illinois. And the next election starts. And I'm telling you, ask the governor, all the state reps, state senators, everybody that's over a Hispanic caucus, a gay caucus, a black caucus, Madigan that's over the representatives, the guy that's a state senator president, ask the governor to enforce that law, man. Because more and more stuff is creeping out and coming out. That secret list is very important. Because in all your briefings that you've been doing, Governor, you have not mentioned what's happening in the nursing homes. Not only that, you have stopped saying, given the race, the gender, and the age of individuals that's dying, man, that's getting infected with those diseases. And I'm saying that one case, Miss Lottie Smith, her daughter, Loretta Brady, and mother's a resident in Westchester. Governor, you're aware of it. The Illinois Department of Public Health is aware of it. They calling for pictures now to try to catch up because this story then came out about the release of the secret list. And the question is on everybody's mind. How powerful is the nursing home industry lobbyists that they can stop a governor from enforcing the law and stop the elected state officials from saying enforce the law that they voted on? And with that, I want to say, get out and vote. It's very important that you vote so that we can get things right. And next week, I'm going to be talking about divesting. Call your elected officials and tell them to divest in McDonald's because they ain't been right. Pick up your Tribune. There's a story talking about McDonald's and how they ain't been right. Google the suits where they ain't been right to African-American franchisees. I talked about it on my show before. But the priority is to make sure that you get out there and vote. Re-elect State's Attorney Kim Foxx. Vote straight Democrat. Retain good judges, especially vote yes when you get to 201 to re-elect or retain Illinois Appellate Court Justice Art Baczynski. And I want to say vote, don't choke. And I want to say stay washed up, stay covered up, wear your mask, because I wear mine. And most importantly, stay prayed up. And I want to say, as I end this day, to God be the glory. That's Gator Story. Get out and vote and don't choke.